This is the Star Wars miniatures game.
Bigger than anything we'd ever done.
Really capturing what it is to be Star Wars.
I mean, the sky's the limit. It's Star Wars. There's so much in Star Wars.
Star Wars Legion is the latest in a long line of Star Wars games from Fantasy Flight. Following in the footsteps of Armada, Rebellion, Destiny, X-Wing, and a galaxy of role-playing games, Legion is a miniatures battle game where you build and customize armies and engage in tactical ground combat during the Galactic Civil War. In this video, we're going to take you behind the scenes at Fantasy Flight Games to meet the designers who are bringing the game to life.
I think Legion started almost immediately after we got the Star Wars license in some sense.
There I was, minding my own business, working on X-Wing and Armada, and I got the really exciting news that I'd been tapped to create an entirely new Star Wars miniatures game. It's still, I'm not even sure it has totally sunk in at this juncture.
It's just really special. Like, Star Wars is a big part of my life, and it's just one more awesome game we're bringing to our fans.
So before starting the miniatures, we kind of start with the concept.
How do you make it feel like Star Wars? And Star Wars is mythological. It's a saga. It focuses on heroic characters and kind of dashing, swashbuckling acts of daring do.
The characters and their stories and the journeys that they go on kind of always captured me. And so too then did the universe.
So the more that I thought about that, the more I realized that I really wanted this game to be character-driven. And the commanders really provide that flavor. They have very specific abilities that are thematically appropriate. And I think that's what helps it stand out from other miniatures games in both gameplay and theme. And I think to me it ends up feeling very Star Wars.
We really try our best to adhere to what's true to the character. And it's always a challenge to really hone that in and make sure it feels like those characters that everybody expects.
So you have to try to figure out what those characters' strengths are and how that translates to the tabletop, what those rules end up being, what their command abilities end up being. It's the most fun thing to design, but it's also the most complicated. So it takes a lot of time to kind of refine those characters and personalities into game mechanics that are going to be recognizable. That's kind of both the challenge and the fun of designing commanders, is trying to get that balance right.
My favorite thematic touch is something that Alex did, so credit goes to him, but the Stormtroopers have the precise one keyword because as Obi-Wan Kenobi says, only Imperial Stormtroopers are this precise. Now the Stormtroopers don't seem that precise in the movies though, do they? But if you look at the unit card, they have their E11 blaster rifles, which roll the worst dice in the game. So really I think the Stormtroopers have been unfairly criticized for their lack of marksmanship abilities, and really they're very well trained. It's those mass-produced guns that really are the problem.
I think one of my favorite things about Legion is because of the battle cards. Every single game is a little bit different because it always has a different deployment, a different objective, a slightly different arrangement of troops. There are certain elements in later waves that add ways to get victory points that aren't just related to the battle cards, and that shakes things up as well. So there's so many different elements and variables, and that leads not only to some really interesting games, but also to some really fun narrative experiences. One of the things that we really tried to do with Legion is make it very accessible and very approachable.
It is the game for people who are not traditionally miniatures, war game players to get into.
In early stages of the design, it was a lot crunchier, it was a lot more granular. I found out that sort of the more that I pared it down, the more that I simplified things, the more that I actually liked the gameplay.
There's still a lot of that sort of hobby element to it, but the rules are very straightforward. There's a lot of room for depth, but we've streamlined a lot of things with movement and measuring range and those sort of things that can become fiddly in a traditional war game.
So I think what you end up with is a game that's very easy to learn. It's very easy to get going with, but that retains a lot of that kind of tactical nuance. There are a lot of reasons you might want to dive into Legion as an experienced wargamer. One, it's going to be a beautiful game to paint. Two, you can use a lot of your existing terrain. If you are an avid hobbyist gamer and you have a table for scenery already, or you have access to that kind of thing. And I think most of all, it's Star Wars. I think being able to paint up stormtroopers and Darth Vader and create, scenes from all across the Star Wars galaxy is going to be really, really exciting. I'm certainly excited about it, and I think that other traditional sort of hobby wargamers will be just as excited to explore that territory.
We've done an incredible job with our sculpts. Our sculpting team is amazing. We've put a lot of work into accurately representing details, into having dynamic poses. The vehicles are extremely well done. The miniatures look completely great unpainted. They're great color. They look great on the battlefield, whether you're going to paint them or not. They're easy to assemble too, but they have a little bit of assembly, which is fun. It's fun to assemble those, and so we think like someone getting into war games for the first time, this is like a great entry point.
It's difficult to choose my favorite sculpt because I think so many of them are just amazing.
For me, it's a real toss-up between Darth Vader and the speeder bike leader.
The clear winner in my mind is probably Vader. He just looks amazing. Like, I love the action in his pose. Like, he's got this slight lean forward as he's like leaning in for a force choke. He's got this awesome cape. The line of the lightsaber is really great.
I'm gonna give the edge to the speeder bike, who's got his holdout blaster pistol and is taking a flyby shot.
I also really like the speeder bike. I really love the scout trooper. He's like turning around and shooting.
One of my favorite ones is the fleet trooper, who is running forward. She's got her gun up. She's up on one foot. Yeah, that one stands out as one of my favorite ones.
So one of my favorite sculpts is a snow trooper with a flamethrower, and it's kind of interesting because it's a basic concept, but the idea for it, the inspiration actually came from a cover of a book series. So it's kind of neat, and I also really like the pose he's in. He's got this great weight to him, and literally looks like he's gonna light somebody up.
The thing that I find the most excited about the launch is that we're finally releasing it.
It just being out will be great, finally. People will be able to play it.
We've been ready to release this product for a while, and we've been working nonstop.
I think just seeing it in people's hands, when people get a chance to dig into the rules and see how great the miniatures look, and hopefully just start having a ton of fun playing it. I'm excited for that.
I'm super excited. People have been speculating on how does this rule work and how does this rule work, and little tidbits from some of our Gen Con demos and things like that, and trying to piece together how this game works.
I'm really excited to see people's paint schemes, see people's terrain boards, see what kind of lists that they build. I've already seen some pretty amazing terrain work and tables in preparation for the launch. And when the game is actually out, we're going to get to see what some really phenomenally talented people from across the world are going to do with those miniatures.
The game finally being out and people finally being able to play this will be super exciting.
What is next for Legion? Lots more of it for many, many years to come.
I'm hoping the future Legion is it's just that it's huge, that it has that it really resonates well with the fans.
I mean, the sky's the limit. It's Star Wars. There's so much in Star Wars.
We're going to dive into as many cool characters, units, vehicles, creatures. I know that our organized play department has a lot of great stuff planned. Not only tournaments, but leagues. People have reason to be excited for what's coming in Legion. There's just so much to draw on with Star Wars. It's a deep well. So for a very, very long time, there will be exciting things coming out for Legion.
What are you looking forward to about the future of Star Wars Legion? Let us know in the comments below, and for more information on all of FFG's games, check out fantasyflightgames.com. And don't forget to subscribe for even more videos.